Welcome back to another episode of Gr8Handyman's home remodeling videos. Today we're going to continue our painting and we're going to start our decking. So let's begin. We have a stability issue right here with the steps. You can see someone installed a spacer board right there to keep the distance proper, but they didn't attach it to the brick. So we brought some brackets and some bolts and screws, and we're going to try and anchor this thing better. Okay, with my concrete bit, I've drilled a hole up here in the brick that'll accept the bracket that I've bought for it. Let me grab that real quick. And I've bent it right here to 5.5 inches. That's the same distance as that wooden block. Now we're going to see if we can get this thing bolted on. Yeah, should fit just like that, and then the screws should be able to go right into the wood. And I bought stainless steel screws so they won't rust. I didn't just buy ordinary screws. And like I said, I bought stainless steel panhead screws. Now those are going to be able to go into those 4 small holes into the wood. I've only got 1 screw in it, and I can already tell this is going to work. It's going to be nice and secure. So we're real pleased with how this has turned out. Alright, I've got the second bracket on there now, and that stiffened this railing right up so it's nice and secure. Okay, we got our second coat of paint on, and at the same time we're also working on getting all these screws out of this deck. I've started over here by the doorway, and these were all put in with number 2 sheetrock screws, and you can probably see these. Not all the screws are going to come out. I had a difficult time right there. We'll have to cut that one from underneath later. But we've got a long way to go and a lot of screws to take out. So we'll continue this in a minute. Okay, I got the first 3 boards up, and they're only 12 foot long, so I can't try another board until I take off some more. But I swept up and I'm looking at everything that's under here, and this gas pipe is going to be an issue because the grill used to sit right here against this wall, but if you can see, it's kind of starting to blacken the wall a little bit. So we're going to relocate the grill and paint that wall to clean it back up. So we have to relocate that pipe, and that pipe goes underneath all those joists all the way over to here where it goes in the house. So we need to measure and go have some pipe cut and threaded. Then we're going to go underneath the deck, and we're going to end up over here, coming up over here for the grill. Also, my customer wants electricity downstairs, switched outlet, ceiling fan, etc. So we're going to open up this electrical box that we have found on the outside, and we're going to see if it's live power or just what it is. Okay, I got out my multimeter and stripped the wires back and tested it, and it is hot. I have 110 volts of power right there. So we can go ahead and deck this, and when we're done downstairs, I'll be able to access this to get in there and run power for the ceiling fan and the lights and the outlet downstairs. So I've got a good start on this. I've got some boards taken up. The screws are coming out. Oh, about 80% of them are coming out. The rest of them I'm having to pry out. But we're getting these boards up. I've already got the first board laid down, and the customer is really liking the way it looks. This gas pipe, we're going to get rid of it in this corner, so that's why we haven't proceeded any further in this corner. Everything gets staggered. I had to clear the way all the way down. Now we're ready to cut and install board number 2. So we've gotten up to our 3rd row now. Now I want to try and get a close up here of this crane. If you can notice, I got the grain of the first board running one direction, and then the grain of the second board running in a different direction. And then the run of the third board is back to the direction it was. So I'm going to be alternating back and forth to give it more of a realistic look. Okay, and we're continuing the Trex decking, and every composite board that you buy is going to be a little bit different. This one is Trex, and it requires a 1/4 inch gap between the planks and an 1/8 inch gap at the butt ends. So in order to achieve that, we're just taking these screws and we're holding them in like this while we attach a screw, just one, because later we're going to run a chalk line and we're going to snap every row and put all of our screws in straight. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to install this next board. I have to measure and cut it so it ends right here at this joist. So we'll start there. Okay, and this one's going to measure 159 3/4. Okay, and we're going to mark this 159 3/4. This is a factory edge, nice and straight. I'm going to line up to my mark, and that's where I need to cut. Okay, I'm going to use my Sawzall to cut this, and if you've never used one of these, some people might think, you know, put the blade on here and gently turn it on, but you'll mar up the wood doing it that way. Turn it on full speed and then aim carefully. I'm going to cut on an angle for a while, and I'll tell you why in just a second, but let me get a bigger groove. Trex will scratch, so I don't want my blade to bounce around and accidentally scratch. So, and the Sawzall cuts better like this. So the angle was to more or less give me a guideline. Now I'm going to cut all the way across. Now I was going up and down with my tool. I'm sure you saw that like this while I was cutting. But when I get close to the edge, I want to slow down and not give it so much pressure. I don't want to blow out the side with my blade. I just want to cut it. Of course, since it's kind of a plastic product, it gets this, but it comes right off. And you got a nice clean cut that way. So, board by board, we are progressing. But it's already lunchtime. It takes a while to get these things done. So stick around. You'll see the conclusion of this deck. So this is how far we've gotten so far. It's early afternoon. We've only got a couple hours left. We're not going to make it all the way, but that's okay. We're taking our time and we're making sure that it's installed properly, keeping our gaps open. So the work continues. This day is going to mingle with the next. So through the magic of television. Okay, I wanted to show you underneath the deck here. We still have 16 brand new pieces of Trex that we'll be using up today, and that'll give us 8 more rows. But I wanted to point out that this is what has become of the old decking right here. We're just laying it on the concrete so it doesn't damage the grass or anything. As soon as we get it all tore up, I'll call for a dumpster and have it dropped in the front yard. And this is an important part of this project, is getting rid of the old. So don't forget that this is a cost we'll have to pay to get rid of this old wood. It's going to be $280 for this dumpster. Then there'll be a dump fee included also, depending on how much we put in it. So don't forget that part. It's very important. And looking up, I can show you the nice spacing that I've got between my Trex, using the screws like I've been using for spacers. And over here we have the old decking that's still yet to come up. Like I said, we've got about 8 more rows. I think we're going to get pretty close to using up all these boards today. We'll be showing you the progress as we go along. Okay, we've used up all 40 boards. We've almost reached the edge of the decking, but not quite. We've just got a few boards stuck in there to show how far that they are going to go over. Those last 2 boards aren't secure yet. But we also need some more for this landing right here and for all the steps. And for each one of these steps, it's going to take an entire board, 3 pieces, 2 for the top, 1 for the front. So we need to order about 30 more pieces of this Trex. And we're going to go to the store now and see if we can't get that delivery. While we're waiting for the boards to show up, we went ahead and we've chalked some of these lines so we can put some screws in and keep them nice and straight. I've only done 2 rows so I don't step all over it and smear the chalk. So when I get these 2 rows done, I'll advance. But I got to go all the way across, all the way over to the other side. This will take a while. So with a chalk line, we're lining up straight down and snapping it to get our mark. This is the part that really takes a lot of time, putting in these screws. Our lumber has arrived, but so has Friday. So we're spending our time screwing down this deck that we got down so far, nice and tight. And the ends are not straight. I'm going to come through and cut those all at once and cut them straight. And then we're going to cap the outside all along that edge. So that's going to be it for this week on Gr8Handyman's home remodeling videos. I appreciate you watching. Stay tuned. We'll finish this deck up next week.